Greetings and thanks for visiting with handbags again today. I'm so glad you stopped by, and I hope we were able to entertain you in a short period of time that we're going to have this little discussion with you. Well, let me tell you what's happening here just in case you're a newcomer. We discuss one of a kind leather handbags, and they're named in honor of women of color. We like to show you what's new, what's available for you, and we want you to come on and pick up one. Before we get started, however, we'd like you to just subscribe. Therefore, we can come back to you as often as possible, and hopefully we can continue to show you some great handbags in the future. So don't forget to subscribe and pass the video on to your friends. Maybe they'll subscribe too. It's always good to have your numbers up with subscriptions. Anyway, we want to get this started. We don't want to hold you too long. We want to show you a really cool bag today. The color is probably something like, I'd have to call it somewhere between a honey mustard kind of thing, like a Dijon mustard. Look at that color. It's a fine, fine piece of leather too. Look at that. The quality of the leather. Beautiful bag. Beautiful. It's a shoulder bag. It has a sinuous shape to it. You can see with the bottom of the bag. The entire bag. It's a nice casual bag. Has a wonderful pocket, easy to access in the front of the bag. The bag has a snap opening. Yes, there is an interior pocket for you also. It's very deep down there. Excuse me, as you can tell. It's a long way down, but a lot of goodies you can put in there. Great bag, great to carry, either on your shoulder, or you can walk with it on your side. Depends on how cool you really are. Shoulder bag. Great bag. Great bag. Can go anywhere, anytime. Look at this quality of leather. Wonderful, wonderful. Anyone, anytime. Even any sex can walk with this bag. I like that. Just had to show it to you because it's such a wonderful piece that we produced. And we'd like you to see what's going on at Handle It Handbags. It's always leather. And it's always a great piece to find. Remember, it's a one of a kind. So, unless you want it in a different color, then this is here today and gone. But it'll wait for you till you get here. But it's a great bag to see anyway. Let me tell you about this bag a little further. What we do here at Handle It Handbags is we named our bags in honor of women of color. We have so many super sisters have done things around the world, and no one ever talks about them. So we just want to share with you a little bit about this sister, who goes by the name of Sarah Rector. She was born on the 3rd of March in 1901, and she passed on July 22nd, 1967. She was an American oil magnate who was known as the richest colored girl in the world. I bet you didn't know that, did you? Okay, well, she was born in 1902 in Oklahoma in the Indian Territory. Some Native Americans had owned slaves, and Sarah's family lived in Muskogee Creek Indian land. When Oklahoma became a state in 1907, the Dawes Allotment Act, they divided the land between the Creek Indians and their former slaves. Everyone in Sarah's family received land. Sarah was allotted 159.14 acres. This was a mandatory step in the process of integration of the Indian Territory with the Oklahoma Territory to form what is now known as the state of Oklahoma. The land was considered inferior, infertile soil, not suitable for farming, with better land being reserved for white settlers and members of the tribe. Now, the family lived simply, but not in poverty. However, the $30 annual property tax on Sarah's parcel was much a burden for her father, so he petitioned the Muskogee County Court to sell the land. His petition was denied because of certain restrictions placed on the land, so he was required to continue paying the taxes. So he leased Sarah's portion to the Devion Oil Company of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. 2 years later, in 1913, another company purchased it. An oil driller, Standard Oil, brought in a gusher yielding 2,500 barrels of oil a day. Sarah was earning so much money that guardianship was changed from the parents to T.J. Potter, a white man. More wells produced even greater amounts of oil, and in October that year, she earned $11,567, which is equivalent to $354,444 here in 2023. Now, in 1914, an African American journal, the Chicago Defender, began to take an interest in Rector, just as the rumors began to fly that she was a white immigrant who was being kept in poverty. But the newspaper published an article claiming that the estate was being mismanaged by the white guardians of her estate. This caused Booker T. Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois was concerned about her welfare. It's not possible to have her cared for in a decent manner and by people of her own race instead of a manner of a race which would deny her a kind treatment according to a good yard dog. This prompted Du Bois to establish a children's department of the NAACP, which would investigate claims of white guardians who were suspected of depriving black children of their land and their wealth. In October that year, she was enrolled in a children's school, a boarding school at the Tuskegee Institute in Alabama, headed by Washington. Upon graduation, she attended Tuskegee Institute, and Rector was already a millionaire by the time she had turned 18 in 1920. She owned stocks, barns, a boarding house, businesses, and owned a 2,000-acre piece of prime river bottom land property. At that point, she left Tuskegee, and with her entire family, they moved to Kansas City, Missouri. She purchased a house on 12th Street, known as the Rector House, which is currently still owned by a nonprofit organization. She married at the age of 20 and had 3 sons. When Sarah Rector died at 65 years of age, she had used up a good portion of her fortune, but she still had a few oil-producing wells and some real estate. Sarah Rector's case spotlighted the practice of transferring guardianship of black children's wealth to whites. Her case led to a creation of the NAACP's Children Department. I think it's a wonderful story to share. I certainly had no knowledge of the story or the individual, and many of you probably have not also. That's why I love to share these stories. I love the fact that we make this bag in honor of her, because everyone needs to be recognized in this world, regardless of what the news we listen to on a daily basis. You really need to understand there's more to every story. We need to know. We need to keep informed. We need to also realize that when you walk down the street, you carry a handbag such as this, that you're a proud carrier, because she was someone to be proud of. Thanks again for joining Handle It Handbags. Remember, you can reach us on www.handleithandbags.com. All right? Thanks again for stopping in, and hope you have a wonderful remainder of the day. Thanks again. Bye-bye.